Hey babe. Yeah, no, I guess you could say my bookstore run was successful. Yeah, I ended up going to Barnes and Nobles. Barnes and Noble? Nobles? I don't know. I should know though, considering how frequently I go and how I spend probably over half my paycheck on books. Yeah, no, I only picked up one today. Yeah, I mean, like, with the Christmas coming up, I should start saving money. Yeah. What was that? Yeah, totally. I can read it to you for a little bit. It reminds me of how we met, actually. Yeah, book club. I mean, granted, I was definitely more into book. You got me stuttering on my words as always. But I was definitely into book club more than you were. I mean, it was pretty obvious you only stopped by whenever I was reading out the story that week. Yeah. Is it okay if I just kind of prop myself up against the bed frame? Like, I still want to be in bed, obviously, because it's comfy, but it's a little hard to read lying down. Yeah, thanks. Just let me get comfortable a little bit. Nice, okay. What are you doing? Why are you at the edge of the bed? Come on, I don't bite. Yeah, you can lay on my lap if you want. I would say that you could lay on like my lap and I play with your hair and everything, but you requested that I read to you, and obviously to turn the pages I need my hands, sadly. Yeah. Yeah, just like that. Okay, with that, I guess I can start if you're ready. Good. So the book of the evening is Kiki's Delivery Service by, I apologize if I get the pronunciation wrong, by Eiko Kadono. And yeah, it's the book that inspired the really popular animated film. Yeah, I didn't realize that the film was based on the book for the longest time, but hey, now you know. Okay. I usually read the author's note, but since I know you want to get straight to the story, I'll just start. Okay? The beginning of the story. Once there was a little town sandwiched between a deep forest and gentle grassy hills. The town was built on an easy southward slope, its roofs the color of dark slices of toast all in a row. Clustered in the center of town near the train station were the town hall, the police station, the fire station, and the school. It was a normal town, one you could find anywhere. But if you paid close attention, you'd find things you wouldn't usually see. For instance, silver bells hung from the top of tall trees. Even when it wasn't storming, these bells sometimes made a racket with their ringing. Then the townspeople would turn to each other and smile, saying, "Little Kiki must have gotten caught again." But how could someone so little ring the bells in the treetops? Well, if you looked to the east and peeked into Kiki's home, you'd find the answer. On a gate pillar facing the road hung a sign that read "Sneeze Medicine," right next to a big green gate that sat wide open. Beyond the gate was a large garden and a single-story house. The garden grew herbs in neat rows with broad leaves and pointy leaves, all different kinds, and a pungent scent filled the area. The smell continued into the house and was strongest around the copper pot in the kitchen. From there, you'd have a perfect view of the front living room wall. Instead of paintings or family photographs as you'd expect, 2 brooms made of bundled branches hung there, a big one and a little one. And from the living room, you could hear the family's voices as they gathered for tea. "Kiki, when are you planning to leave?" said a woman's voice full of disapproval. "I think it's about time you let us know. You can't keep putting it off like this." "That again?" a girl spoke, somewhat annoyed. "Don't worry, Mom. I'm your daughter. After all, I am a witch. I'm thinking about it." "How about leaving up to Kiki, dear?" a calm man interjected. "Until she decides for herself, you can prod all you want, but it won't make a difference." "Yes, you might be right." The woman's voice rose slightly. "I'm just anxious. I feel responsible, you know?" In this house lived a family of witches. Well, Kokiri, the mother, came from a long line of witches, and Okino, the father, was human. As a folklorist, he studied legends and tales about spirits and magic. Kiki was their only child, soon to turn 13. The 3 were talking over tea about Kiki's coming of age day. When daughters of witches and humans reach the age of 10, they decided whether to follow tradition and live as witches themselves. If a girl picked this path, she promptly learned her mother's magic and chose a full moon night of her 13th year as her coming of age day. For a young witch, this meant leaving her parents' house and moving to live on her own in a town or village in need of magic. Of course, finding a witchless town on her own is a difficult thing for a little girl to do. But over the years, witches' powers had grown weaker and their numbers had dropped. Such important tradition helped them survive, as well as share the existence of witches with as many towns, villages, and people as possible. At the age of 10, Kiki had decided to become a witch and learn Kokiri's magic right away. Kokiri had 2 magic abilities. The first was growing herbs to make sneeze medicine, and the second was flying through the sky on a broom. Kiki quickly got the hang of flying, but as she grew older, she often found herself distracted by all sorts of things. For example, the big pimples that started appearing on the side of her nose, or deciding which dress she should wear to her friend's birthday party. Whatever that happened, her broom would suddenly start to fall. One time she was so busy thinking about that scratchy new underwear she was wearing that she ran into a power line. Her broom broke into pieces, and Kiki herself ended up with bumps on her nose and both kneecaps. Soon after, Kokiri tied bells to the tall trees of the forest. If Kiki was lost in thought and flying too low, her feet would ring the bells and the sound would bring her back to reality. Fortunately, they were ringing much less than they used to. Meanwhile, there was the sneeze medicine making, but Kiki didn't seem to be cut out for it. She was impatient and found it difficult to grow the herbs, finely chop the leaves and roots, and slowly simmer them. Will another type of magic disappear? Kokiri lamented. In the olden days, witches could use all sorts of magic, but over the years, one type after another disappeared, until even a genuine witch like Kokiri was left with only 2 abilities. Now her daughter hated one of them, so it was no wonder why she was upset. But it feels so much better to fly through the sky than stir a pot. Kiki didn't see what the issue was. At these times, Okini would try to cheer Kokiri up. Well, we can't force it. Maybe someday lost magic will be relearned. Plus, she has her black cat, doesn't she? Witches have long been accompanied by black cats. One could say that's another type of magic too. When a witch has a baby girl, she searches for her black cat, born around the same time, and raises them together. As they grow, the cat and the girl learn to speak to each other in their own language. Koki used to have a cat named Meme, and Kiki had one as well, a little black cat named Gigi. By the time the girl came of age, the cat would be a precious companion and someone to turn to during good times and bad. Eventually, the girl would grow up and find a new companion to take place of her cat. The cat would also find its own partner, and from then on, the pair would live separately. That was only the first chapter. Only 6 pages, can you believe? How about we call it that for the night? Yeah, I know it wasn't as long as you'd like, but I've had a really long day. And, in exchange for reading you a chapter, perhaps I could get cuddles. Traits. Supply and demand. You can't hustle the hustler. Or whatever they say. But yeah, maybe I'll keep reading it to you another night. Okay? Okay. Well, I'm gonna go to sleep then. And you are going to help me. Thanks. Good night, babe.